Hey guys, just wanted to do my review of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5, Episode 11, All the Comforts of Home. So, like I mentioned in my Arrow review, if you watch that, um, I've been reluctant to, because like a bunch of videos have been blocked, at least for reaction videos for the CW shows, and it's been happening to a lot of people on their channels doing similar doing reaction videos to those shows as well. And they've been, some people tried to dispute them, had channels taken down, had their videos blocked. I decided that maybe it would be best to play it safe for a little bit, and I don't know if it's the same way with any of the Marvel shows. But I decided that it's late. I need to get caught up on the X Files, and I work tomorrow, so I'm just I figured just doing a review for this week is going to be for the best. Although I do have plans to do a reaction video for next week's episode, since that's supposed to be the 100th episode of the show. Anyways, so last episode, um, the Team Coulson was able to successfully get back to the present day through the monolith. But right before the explosion of the lighthouse in the year 2091, so they're back in present day. With Amy sitting there, and it took them through time, but they're still in the lighthouse. But it's in present day. It's still this like underground bunker that's still intact for the most part, and they're greeted by and Noah is another Chronicon. I think is what that species is called. The same member of the alien race that Enoch was part of, that studies and records human history. He's played by Joel David Moore, who you know from he was in movies like Dodgeball, Grandma's Boy. Um, he's also was co-starred in Avatar. So he's supposed to be. He was sent there by he was told sent there by Enoch to assist the team after and greet them after coming back from the future, and learning how the lighthouse was like a bunker created by Shield to use that as like the new base of operations, and it has all these like special tech like locked away and collected, including the monolith that sent them through to the future in the first place, which kind of freaks May out. Even though it's like locked away in a chamber, she just thinks the thing should be destroyed. Um, they decide that they decide they have to go like try to change humanity's fate, and one of the first unusual things they're alerted to as far as unusual activity is that there's some kind of beacon being sent out, and so going through this underground tunnel, and by stealing a van, they're able to get to the Zep get to the Zephyr and find the location of what essentially is the Kree orb, which is used by Hive after he possessed Grant Ward to summon like some Kree to Earth and basically just attack and kill them. I guess use them in his experiments to repopulate the Earth with his like weird um deformed inhuman race. So they end, and so it turns out when they get there, they end up being greeted by Agent Piper, who has been who's went off the grid and was trying to search every. They don't explain like the circumstances like where they were, but they just said they. But she basically crashed them up, saying that she's been going off the grid trying to search for them everywhere, and that she was there to try to stop the Kree orb. But it turns out that she cut a deal with General Hale, and you kind of figure and you kind of thinks it's like, oh, she's basically just like turned to them and sold them out for like amnesty. But she just explains that General Hale told her that she was going to trying to help the team, and after Piper explained to them everything that really happened about, oh, they were being set up and all this stuff about the LMDs, the framework. And there was an earlier scene where like General Hale is talking with her daughter, talking with her daughter, and she's just asking. She's played by Duff Cameron. I don't know. I'm not really familiar with who she is, or maybe I guess she was on like I don't know if she was like in Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, but I don't know. It was they made a big deal out of the promo saying that she was going to be a guest star and play like a major character, and that she's in her room like listening to music and has a poster of Quake and asking her mom if she's a bad guy and her job about going after the agents of Shield, and she says that she's trying to do her job to protect her country and bring the team to justice. And but because of what Piper did and being manipulated into going after the team, like the beacon was the Kree orb was basically used as not only beacon, not a beacon to summon Kree or start an invasion. It was basically just to lure the team out of hiding, and so they had to fight all of these soldiers in like weird masks that are almost similar to Deke's mask in but then they figure out that pretty much almost all of them are just robots, and one of them, who's even fighting Elena, still manages to use her chakram when she's moving, even despite moving at super speed to like cut off her lower limbs. And just when Mac is trying to convince her was trying to convince her through the episode, like not to worry about the future, like it wasn't set in stone, like she was based that the future, Elena was just telling her things because Casais was just trying to mess with the team. Now she's kind of, the fact that she's getting, her lower limbs are being, her arms have been mutilated just like as you saw in the future. And you see like, they're basically having to rush back to the lighthouse with Simmons operating on her. Then now she's starting to think like, things are starting to come true after all. And then, even though I wasn't surprised by this, like it turns out that the person who did mutilate Elena was actually General Hale's daughter. Her kid's name is Ruby, and apparently she's basically a child soldier and and who does illegal black ops for her mom. And she even calls her a disappointment. And it turns out her bedroom is actually in this like kind of like this like steel, like behind this steel door, almost this bunker where she keeps her in. So it kind of makes you wonder, like, if she's keeping, why would she like keep a prisoner there? Is she like supposed to be inhuman, or just be able to do superhuman feats? Like, I mean, they say that she's supposed to be like a major character and like a very complex character. We don't know like much about her so far, or even to the extent of what General Hale's plans are, like why she's so eager to kill the team rather than just arrest them. Because considering that, I think considering the episode we saw last time with Fitz in the Presence, I think it was called Rewind, where she like killed two of her subordinates. So I'm kind of getting the feeling that maybe she's the one she probably has the role in the proposed end of the world somewhat inadvertently. The jury's, I don't know, considering that the Kree orb wasn't used as a beacon for an invasion, for at least a Kree invasion. The jury's still out as to whether or not they're going to the future they saw had anything to do with Thanos' invasion from Infinity War. But Daisy still believes that because of everything she saw, what she was told in the future and heard about, that she figures like, if I'm going to cause the end of the world, I don't want to come along for this mission. So she has her own little side mission, because as you see, like we have a shot of the van like driving through this small town. The camera just lingers on this kind of like town plaza that you're like waiting for somebody to like materialize. And so it was kind of obvious that it's like, somebody from the future came back through the monolith, and just as some people theorized, and also just because I guess Chloe Bennett gave it away on her Insta story when talking with his actor Jeff Ward, that Deke was going to be the one who didn't get killed in the explosion. He was actually pulled through time. to like present to Earth of present day. And there was something like, I mean, I'm not like not a huge fan of that character, but it was something pretty endearing about him, being able to kind of bask in, seeing Earth in its prime instead of just like, and considering he had to grow up in like some underground bunker his whole life and never had any real food, there's something kind of endearing about him. Just reveling in him being able to see Earth in its splendor, basically the hugging tree to almost eating ice cream out of the garbage. The fact that to like going to a bar where he basically just stuffed his face full of food and and got plastered. But as you naturally predicted, because he kind of he had on this whole like binge eating and binge drinking spree, that he wasn't gonna have the money to pay for anything he ate at the bar he went to, because he just got pulled from the future and doesn't have any like real cash, and just all he has is this metric, which isn't currency that's going to work there. So he ends up getting arrested, and he ends up, and Daisy finds out about it through the database at the lighthouse, and so she has to risk her cover just to break him out, because he knows how Weasley he can be. Like, he probably is not going to understand, like, how Earth is now, and is probably going to be like asking questions or saying things about the team just for the sake of trying to like find his way around and risk getting them caught by the authorities. So yeah, she has to risk her cover and go undercover as like a not secret service, a social services agent, just to like bail him out of jail against Noah's wishes, who thinks that it's going to interfere with the mission, and it's not part of the proper course of time. And you think that one of the officers at the jailhouse recognizes her and is on the phone with somebody and with Hale and trying to stall, and basically trying to stall Daisy. But surprisingly, in spite of being like the world's most wanted fugitive, literally the world's most wanted fugitives, like there are two cops throughout this episode, or at least one or two cops that just don't seem to recognize them, in spite of being warrants put out for their arrest to all forms of law enforcement. And so she's able to get Deke out and back to the bunker. And I don't know, I just feel it was kind of like it was kind of an interesting episode, because I think they mentioned like Coulson looking at his own old wound, or whatever, like black veins were lighting up. Were just appearing on his chest, like before, like 2 episodes ago, or I should say last episode, I should say, past life. I'm trying to. I mean, like I said, there's still like a lot of unanswered questions to the circumstances, like how things play out. What do you think is going to be obviously the focus of the back half of the season? General Hale's motivations. Is Deke going to have this thing where he's going to be assisting the team in present day, and then he's seen to go back to the future, and then you see that everything's going to be fine. I'm more like everything's going to be fine, and the Earth's intact in 2091. And also, how are they going to deal with the whole thing with the fact that Fizz has had to get to the future by cryogenically freezing himself, and then it's like, okay, so he's back in. Okay, so he's basically I feel like he's back in the present. Things kind of proceed to his life kind of proceeds to the natural course of history, but then it's like he still has some kind of past self that's still frozen in space. So what kind of time paradox is that going to cause? I mean, is Elena going to have to get like bionic arms similar to Coulson? Probably it's going to have to, because I don't think she didn't have stumps in Robin's flashbacks of like 2022. So that's my best guess. And I mean, it was a pretty good episode, but again, it was just sort of like it was more like a transition episode for the back half, and there's not much to say in terms of like where, like 100%, like 100%, like where I think the episode's gonna go based on, based on what little we know. I but next week I heard like Coulson's gonna disclose like what kind of deal he made with the Ghost Rider, maybe how that plays in all of this. But anyway, guys, what do you think of the episode? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.